I was like 1.5 because at the time we had a dog, but then the dog passed away before I turned 2. And I mentioned, like the details on the dog, how he had like one eye, how he was a rescue dog and he had this scar because he was a fighting dog, and he had the scar from the back of his ear. And my dad's like, "How the fuck do you remember that?" And I'm like, I just know it, bro. I've seen him." Yes, I don't tend to
Hang out with
interact.
dogs.
It's not that. It's just it. Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact I would be boring for them. 100 fucking percent. So yeah, no, I don't interact with those fucks. I'm gonna tell you this, like, so when I was 4, one of my mentors, he was actually a good friend of my grandfather's. And I remember, like, he would ask, like, because he would come over and to our family's home a lot, and he would ask, what do you guys want to do when you grow up? And my brothers would say, I want to, fucking be, Spider-Man, some stupid shit. I said I want to take over the world. And at 4 years old, every Saturday I would go to his house. We would drink tea and eat biscuits. He would teach me how to play chess and how to play Go. It's a Chinese strategy game. And we would talk about life. And he was also in the military, and he taught me, how he used mathematics and all this shit. And he introduced me to his colleagues, and it was fun. It was really fun. Most people would find it creepy that a 4-year-old is playing chess with, a 58-year-old at the time. Oh, do you know what Zugzwang is? Yeah, that's me in chess. I bring the Zugzwang, as they call it. Yes, I enjoy it. Uh, I don't have a high rate. Like, I don't play online professionally like that. It's just years. I play myself in chess a lot before I play someone else. I do follow chess, like the tournaments. Yeah. I enjoy seeing Magnus Carlsen and his strategies, him utilizing it. IQ isn't like a real thing. It's not a concrete. An IQ is the same as a polygraph. It really holds no value. See, because here's the thing: there's a difference between the difference that I see between someone that's an intellectual and someone that's educated. Someone that's educated most of the time are regurgitating information that they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. Someone that's an intellectual has a passion for learning, and they will learn anything. Fuck no, I'll stick to what I got. I'll expand it if I can. Much more. Because here's the thing, like, I've seen my peers make a lot of mistakes. I didn't make those mistakes. I mean, sure, I didn't go to a lot of parties growing up, but I owned my own home. I was able to move out at 19. I graduated high school at 16. Like, life for me is just better. Most people I know that, that were into that part, they're rather in debt with student loans, or they just don't know what the fuck they're doing with their life. They have no structure, no discipline, no foundation to build on.
Yeah, they have nothing, bro. Nothing.
When I was younger, my grandfather, he taught me something very valuable. He said, everything in this life has a price. Figure out what you want in life, and then figure out the price. Like, for example, he gave this example.
Yeah.
Like, most people want to be famous, right? But most people don't want to deal with the stresses that come with being famous, such as losing your privacy, your anonymity, having everything you do be criticized. Not everybody can handle that. Pick what you want, figure out the price, and if you are willing to pay, because here's the thing: once you pay for certain things, once you accomplish them, there's no going back. From your peers, you will be viewed differently. If you're not willing to pay the price, sit the fuck back. In his words. Yeah. My goals are one day I want to open up like a private compound where I can enjoy my luxuries in peace and have a sanctuary. And the price for that is loneliness. Like I won't be able to copulate with anyone else because I'm a very private individual. I'm not on social media. I don't like that shit. Not only because they steal all your data and they sell you a bunch of shit, but it's like you'd be surprised, like of how much you could figure out about a person just by looking at their social media. Like people put their fears, things that can be utilized against them as weapons. They put that information out there casually without realizing it. Most people have to like you can find out someone's whereabouts and see here's the side like a decade or 2 decades ago you'd have to be an expert with like penetration testing and you'd have to work for the US government to have access to these powerful machines that are expensive as fuck to find someone. Now it's just a search away. You want to know where they're at? Go to their Facebook. Most of the time they're posting where they're going. Where they be like, and I look at this, I'm like, because I have some thoughts that are fucked up. I'm like, if I wanted to assassinate someone, hypothetically, you're doing all the work for me. You're telling me where you're gonna be, who you're gonna be with, what you plan on doing. Like, this is not right. You shouldn't do this. Most people do give up their privacy for like benefits of feeling wanted. I feel like one thing that has ruined the current generation has been, and this is because of dopamine hits, is pornography. We've seen that had a massive effect. I don't. I have in the past. I just don't care. I've had intercourse, so after you have intercourse, pornography's dead.
Mhm.
So here's how I view people, and I told this because my parents told me once when I was 8. Is my parents told me you hate everyone because they're stupid, and this was my response to them at 8, and I'm gonna say it again. I do not hate individuals for being ignorant because we're all ignorant. What I do despise is individuals who choose to remain ignorant. Like if you choose to be stupid in your life, I can't respect you. Like yeah. Like you've had, because think about it like this: young people have had warnings, right? If you look at the national debt, student loan is the biggest thing in this country. And the beautiful thing about the United States is there are so many opportunities, even if you come from the lowest class, that you don't have to get into student debt. There's this thing called the fucking GI Bill. You don't gotta go to war. You could push papers in the Air Force to get it. Go. Scholarships if you don't want to go towards the military route. But, and then when they go to college, I've noticed, like, I visited my cousin at UCLA when I went to California. And I would ask her peers, the college students, basic questions. They couldn't answer any of them. And I looked at them and I said, "You deserve the hell that's about to be bestowed upon you. You deserve it, you fucking piece of shit." Could you repeat that, please? Yeah. I'm gonna tell you this. So I asked somebody, and this is very sad. on the 4th of July, when was the United States established? When was it founded? Nobody knew. They're wearing American flag T-shirts, American flag sunglasses, an
I'm
Uncle
not
Sam
fucking
mask.
around.
They don't know it's and then I'm like it's 1776. You know, in 1775 we used guerrilla tactics, and then on this day at 1776, on this day, I'm giving them the fucking hints. It's there. It made me sad. It made me this. I look at humanity. The more I look at like the younger generation, the more I'm disappointed. No, but here's the reason. This generation is they just indoctrinate themselves with these false ideologies that are consequential towards real progress, true evolution. Right? Like when I was a fucking kid, you went to school and, they didn't come up to you, hey, if you feel like a chick. One of my younger cousins, he told his teachers that, they're fucking idiots and that he wants to skip their class and have someone teach him something that actually matters in life. He's like, 8 years old. He got suspended for harassing the teachers. A teacher, an educator who was, and I asked, I asked my uncle, and I'm like, hey, how old was the teacher? Like, the teacher's 54 years old. A 54-year-old got offended by a 10-year-old. You know how sad that is? Like, where do you get your degrees? How do you qualify? I'm going to tell you this, and people's emotional reactions have to contradict and change everything about life. Like, for example, retardation. The first time it was ever used, it was a medical term in the medical dictionary. It wasn't degrading, it was just facts. But because people use it as a slur, they're like, oh, well, we can't call them retarded now. Now they're mentally handicapped. Are you out of your fucking mind?
No, I'm mentally handicapped, bro. Like,
What are you, insane? And here's the thing, most individuals that complain in the United States, you have no idea how cushy your life is. You want fucking struggling, pain? Go to the Congo. Go to Yemen. Go fuck with the CCP, where they have cities where they monitor individuals and give them a ranking system. And those that don't follow the rules, they are publicly shunned and they lose their benefits. Like, they're not allowed
yeah,
to shop in
imagine,
most
bro.
stores, not allowed to travel. You know what I noticed? Everyone, like, and I've noticed this, like, everyone I've met that had, like, those ideologies, especially with communism, they're all poor. Like, most individuals are lazy. Because you have to understand, let's say you don't want to go to college. I understand that. You can go work at an oil rig. Now, sure, it's a risky business. But however, if you follow all the safety procedures, you can go work at an oil rig with a high school diploma, maybe an associate's degree, and make like $250,000 a year. There's no fucking excuse. Get your ass to work. Like, I know
No, I
this one
just want to
individual, right?
work.
He told me, he's like, my name's Ellsworth, by the way. He's like, hey, Ellsworth, I can't pay my car payments. Why can't you pay your car payments? I bought like a $800 Gucci wallet, bro, and I bought like this
Yeah,
thousand
bro. He
dollar
was black,
boat.
right? He was black.
No, he's not African American. He's actually Irish. But I can't pay my car payments, man. I'm fucked. I'm like, you deserve it, you piece of shit. And then he's like, why are you being mean to me? I'm like, wait, you want me to fucking lie to you and say you're doing a good job? Like, see, when I was younger, my grandfather, he taught me, he's like, look, most people fuck up their lives in their 20s. They spend their 30s repairing their 20s, and then they spend their 40s doing what they should have done in their 20s. Isn't it better for you to do what you want in your 20s so you can have that financial security and freedom to actually pursue what you enjoy? And anybody who doesn't do that, I cannot for the love of me understand why. Like, I know people that choose to eat less food to afford luxuries, and they call them necessities, luxuries such as like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and all this shit.
Yeah, imagine, bro. Imagine.
You don't need it.
That's my bar. That's my bar. That's
I feel
true.
like everything should be approached with discipline, right? I enjoy gaming once in a while. I don't play it for 24 fucking hours a day and sleep for half the day the next day. So I wake up, I read. I read a lot of Dostoevsky, a lot of Robert Greene, Machiavelli. I try to read for a minimum of 1 hour. After that, I eat breakfast, brush my teeth, and then I work out for about, another hour.
Yeah.
And then it's, going to work, coming back. After work, I make my meals, do laundry if I have to, take care of the house.
Bro, do you know when I woke up?
What time did you wake up?
At 7 p.m. My house was already made, it was clean. And it was very dirty when I slept.
Dude, that's because you have other people to do your shit for you. I'm
Yeah,
actually self-dependent on myself.
yeah.
I feel like
I have
one
a
thing that
girlfriend.
that
I have
really
a
pisses me
girlfriend.
off, and I
We
see
have
this.
a cleaning lady, bro.
I know like people in their 40s that are living at home. Now I understand most people live at home to save up for a house. That I can respect. But I know people that are living at home in their 40s and they don't have a fucking penny to their name.
Oh, bro, no, no. I'm living since I'm 19 when I had no penny, I'm living alone with my girlfriend.
So you have your girlfriend to do your chores for you.
What wrong?
Hey, that's not that far off. I mean, shit, they got robots that will raise your kids in Japan for like $300,000 USD. So yeah, yeah, it's like one of those pre-programmed
Sorry,
machines
bro.
that
I have a
has
disconnect.
curriculums. Actually insane. That's another thing. I'm very picky with food. Like, I won't eat anything. Like, my food has to be made properly. Well, for breakfast, I have a lobster with omelet, spinach, green leaves, and tea. For lunch, I eat a lot of seafood. So, like, salmon, fish and chips. The most unhealthy thing I would say I eat is, like, fried chicken and, like, fish and chips. That's it. I have. See, when I was what is it, 6 years old, I used to drink a lot of soda back then. And I remember I was running and I noticed, I'm like, yo, I feel really tired. So I decided to do an experiment. I went home and I dumped out every bottle of soda that we had. My parents and my siblings didn't like that because they said I wasted it. And I'm like, well, I'm just quitting cold turkey. However, after just, drinking water, I noticed, like performance wise, I was able to run longer. I increased my stamina, swim longer, etc. Also, here's the thing: when you eat good food, I believe food is an experience. It's satisfying. When you eat something that's bad, you're fucked. It really does affect your performance and your mood for the day.
Yeah, we are different, bro. We are different, bro. I just need a Red Bull and energy drink, in the morning and a joint, and I'm ready to go, bro. I'm smoking, while working, bro. I'm completely high. It is, it is.
You smoke while you work.
Because
What do
I'm
you
I'm
do?
good. I'm good in my work,
So what do you do for a living?
Programming, bro.
Okay, what kind of programming?
Why do you want to know?
I'm just curious.
Nah, it's a simple web applications, bro. Nothing special.
So you do web designing.
Well, no. I don't do simple websites. Oh, sorry. I was playing. Yeah, I do backend and front end. I do the network. Man, I told you already. I have our own company. Well, it's actually in the name of the girlfriend, but yeah, I do most of the shit. Bro, it's not a big application. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I spent like 2 months working nonstop on it, and I created already like 7 applications. I didn't create just one, but one blew off when COVID started to hit. When the government said, "Well, you have to work remote from home," because it was basically a productivity tracker.
Yeah. Yes. So I've noticed people that intake, foods that are heavy in fat, oil, and grease, and just toxic, do affect your mentally. And I've actually experimented on my family. It sounds fucked up what I'm about to say to regular people. So I took two of my sisters. One of them I gave a lavish breakfast, a proper breakfast. The other one I gave like, fast food. And after about 20 minutes of them eating, I would ask them questions 100 fucking percent. And I did this for 3 weeks, on lunch, breakfast, and dinner. The one, and I switched it in between them just to make sure it wasn't their personalities. The one that ate healthy and like ate good food was much more conversive and interested in what I had to say and patient, and the other one just irrationalized and fucking lost their shit. So it does affect you mentally.
No, well, it makes you addicted,
Now I'm
bro.
going to respond to that. I believe too much sugar is poison. A controlled amount, because there's sugar in fruits, right? A controlled amount of anything is good for you. Like, I drink red wine once a week for, like the antitoxins. Now, if you drink it every day and you drink it multiple times a day, you're not going to get those health benefits. Instead, you're going to fuck up your liver. So, too much of anything can be bad. Nope. I don't drink caffeine. If I have like, yeah, I make tea, and that's about it. That's about it. Most times, I don't. If I'm studying, I don't eat or drink. I eat and drink prior to my studying. I don't do it during because I actually want to engage in the topic I'm learning. Just my regular snacks, like dried seaweed and spinach. It's actually good for you. Uh, Spinach is not only good for your respiratory system, it's actually good for your eyes as well. And when you're staring at a bunch of small numbers all day and calculating, whether on a screen or on a whiteboard or on a notebook, you need your eyes working top notch. Yeah. Man, I wish I could say that about my daily meals. Simple. You just cook it in an omelet. Yeah. You have to understand, just the more joy you take out of life, the more that's going to financially cost you. Right? Like, see, like, could you say that again? Uh, sure. See, like, I went to the dentist and, I figured out what I was doing wrong. I fixed all my cavities. I got all four of my wisdom teeth removed. Now, most people would say, like, afterwards, they'll go back to eating chocolate. I asked my dentist and my orthodontist, I'm like, what products do I need to purchase? Note that money is not an issue. He gave me like 7 different products. I spent total about $1,000, like 375 just on my toothbrush. Like the Sonicare, top notch. I fucking use that shit every day, bro. Here, I'll tell you. So I have the Philips Sonicare 9900 Prestige. You could get it on Amazon for 375, and it will cost you 400 with tax, shipping, and depending if you want quick shipping. I even bought, like water picks. I bought plaque removers, teeth whitening kits. Fucking, we went all out, bro. I use like charcoal, non-fluoride toothpaste. That fluoride shit's actually bad for you. That's why I don't drink any water with fluoride in it. Once in a while, yeah. Yeah. No, because I mean, all my vitamins are naturally, like, through the food I consume. I have. Yeah. So most of the time with like my vitamin B, I put it into drinks like smoothies, like for example B12, and that's how I consume it. I also eat a lot of sardines, so it's good for you. Now, being originally from Virginia, before I moved, I was able to just go around the U.S. I've went hunting and I've had alligator meat. I've had pretty much almost every exotic food. That's a fucking lie. Oh, here's one thing about alligator. Every muscle on a gator is edible. The best part, most people like the foot meat. The tail is the tenderloins. I prefer the jaw meat of the alligator. It is succulent. It is delicious if made properly. Really, it actually melts in your mouth. Have you ever had like Wagyu steak? Okay, think of it like Wagyu steak, just more stringy, except it melts in your mouth as well. So take like no, fuck no. Have you ever had yak, like a yak steak? It's similar to that. Oh, by the way, if you live in the United States, there's this website called Fossil Farms. They are a bit expensive, but they do have yak steaks, emu steaks. They don't have alligator jaw meat, unfortunately. However, they do have the tenderloins. So Fossil Farms, check them out. Dude, I ordered like a 12-ounce emu steak. That shit cost me like $94 with shipping. I was like, fuck. But then when I ate it, I was like, I gotta have another one. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm an arms broker as well as an analyst, so I'm pretty secure financially. I contract in the manufacture and immediate area of weapons and other military goods. Yes. I also, I worked for a private military company as well. I don't do that anymore, but I did do that. Well, when I worked for them, they were called Triple Canopy. They're now Constellus, so they've changed that. They changed their name a lot. But yeah, check out Fossil Farms for sure. See, I'm gonna tell this. My family served in the United States Armed Forces. When I told them I wanted to become a contractor, most of them called me a sellout because they said I'm doing it for money. And I'm like, listen, you remember that time where Uncle John lost his fucking leg and we had to lose our bills just to support him because they wouldn't give him a fucking prosthetic when he needed one? He went to the VA and he had to prove he was a veteran with no fucking leg. Like he had to wait 5 months for a VA card. I'm like, you remember that time? I'm like, yeah. After seeing all the shit that you guys went through, why wouldn't I go private? I have dental, vision, like solid health insurance, and if I don't even want to fucking use the health insurance, I make enough to pay out of pocket if I were to choose to. Like, why the fuck would I do that? Like, I'm gonna tell you this. I went into the private sector. One of my friends, he went into the armed forces. And recently we had a video chat. And I was looking at his room and I was like, hey, you could paint your room fully black if you're going for like some sort of emo theme. He's like, that's not fucking paint, my boy. That's mold. I was like, that's fucking disgusting. And it wasn't like this time. Like, imagine 75% of the ceiling painted in black mold. It's bad. And then they're like, dude, you're not gonna fucking believe this. They took away my Ops Core ballistic cut and they gave me like this old shitty beat up ACH. I had to buy my own eye pro, my own ear pro, all of that shit. And I was telling him my experiences as, like a PMC, because after I became a defensive contractor, I did that for a year and a half. I went in and we had to fill these forms, and they're like, you could pick out whatever you want. I'm like, excuse me? They're like, you pick out whatever you want. I got me some ballistic cut. I got me some H3 Gen 3 Harry's NVGs decked out Beretta ARX 200 and Macmillan TAC 50, which I still own to this day. I was able to get my FFLs faster. It's different. It's a different experience. I'm sure it's a more risk intensive job. Like you can't be on military bases unless you're directly working with a platoon or a direct task force. It is a more dangerous job. However, the benefits outweigh the risk. He gets sick a lot. And he's like, dude, I'm only here for like 3 months. I'm like, you gotta live 3 months. I'm like, dude, if I were you, I would go and like buy a tent and just go outside and camp. And it's like, I fucking regret joining the army, bro. I'm like, why? This is like, you remember how like when we were little kids, my older brother would tell his experience about the army of how like he got made fun of and beat up. They are so kind. Like since they got rid of shark attacks and all of this shit, it's like they're letting fucking pussies through. It's like it's a joke at this point. And then I don't know if you know this. So a few years ago, and this was quite recent, We spent, I believe, around 3.5 million U.S. tax dollars on producing cartoon recruitment ads for the United States Army. It is fucking. I was. I was like, I'm glad I'm taking advantage of every fucking loophole I can. Fuck you, cunts. Because here's the thing, I feel like most Americans, if they knew where their taxes are going, because it's sickening of how veterans are being treated. Like, I find that appalling. Like, how the fuck are you gonna send him, get fucked up mentally or physically, come back and you're homeless? When they're in the service, they're in charge of like equipment that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they come back, they can't even get a job flipping burgers. Like, that's even fucking hard for them. Fuck me. Hoping in I'm hoping within the next 30 years I could have a charitable organization where I'll take more advantage of not paying taxes and I'll help veterans get on their feet. I don't know the I know which one you're talking about. I just don't have the name. I'm more towards the right. I'm more conservative, mainly because see, I believe in values, and the reason why I believe in most conservative values is because they are a key ingredient, and I'm going to say ingredient for essential growth, right? Like the nuclear family aspect. That is a very key ingredient, and it's been proven to have success in a child's life growing to be a young adult. When you have these clear orientations and you're raised with discipline, you are much more likely to accomplish more than your counterparts. You know what I hate? Like, and recently, just I got kicked out of a political Discord server because somebody asked me, like, debunk the wage gap between men and women. I'm like, okay. And this was my response. I'm like, as a businessman, my goal is to pay less money, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, did you know that Apple uses children's labor in China just so they could fucking make the shit pennies on the dollar and sell it for thousands? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, if as a businessman I could get away with paying women 70% less, why the fuck wouldn't I just hire women? Like, fuck. At that point, even if the product comes out somewhat shitty, it's the only product on the market. It's gonna get consumed. And I was like, could you please explain that to me? They were quiet for 15 minutes, and then I got server banned.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Kakaski. Yeah.
See, like, one thing that I feel tremendously sorry for the younger generation is their education system is fucking going down.
Guys, I'm falling asleep, man, and I don't contribute much to the discussion, so
If you're
good night.
falling asleep, I recommend you go to sleep. Good night and have a
Yeah, good
wonderful day.
night.
I wish you well in your endeavors. Like, the indoctrination of, like, the education system, like, it is so bad. Like, I don't know if you know this, so, like, the Carnegies and the Rockefellers, they invested more in changing the U.S. education policies than the government did. Like, they spent, I believe, around 89 to 90% more in the span of, I believe, a decade. And John D. Rockefeller has this very famous quote. He has this quote. He says, I do not want a nation of intellectuals, thinkers, doctors, and lawyers. I want a nation of workers. That's not a good fucking thing. You have to understand, yes, there are positions that have to be filled, but you have to understand, as the days go on, most of those positions will be automated. You know, like I highly doubt we're gonna have welders in the next 50 to 100 years. I highly doubt we're gonna have, you know, warehouse works and construction sites. Maybe they would be overlooked by human beings. I highly doubt they would be taking on the more riskier fucking jobs. And another thing, so like most Americans, and I told this to my teacher, I'm like, you know, you got fucked. Well, your parents' generation got fucked. And I was like, how? I'm like, well, see, back in 1971, something very crucial happened. Because before 1971, if you look at the statistical data, you know, the average individual was able to make a good living, pay off their debts, even, you know, pay off a house in 3 years. And after 1971 is when the 30-year mortgage plan was introduced. And what happened in 1971? Richard fucking Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. Now, what does that mean? That means they could print unlimited of it, which makes your dollar worth less. Now you are no longer inclined with the rich, because before you were making the same amount of money they are, but the difference between you and them is they have assets such as, you know, real estate, stocks, and things that appreciate, art, shit like that. So if you look at the chartful data, it just keeps going down. Like, it just fucking keeps going down. And with so much economic crashes. The economic crashes are good for individuals that have some income and some capital to venture off in. It's been proven to be very lucrative. However, for individuals that like don't know how much they're getting fucked, because you cannot, like, one of the greatest lessons I learned in this country, and it was actually a university professor. He taught me. He's like, when you get older, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna go to a bank and build credit. He's like, no, you're not. Banks have high interest rates. When you get older, and you do this when you're a teenager, go to a credit union. Credit unions have lower interest rates and build credit. And it's like, all right, now that you've built your credit and you're making good money and you have savings, what do you invest in? I said, stocks. Is like, you don't want to do that right now. And I'm like, why not? He's like, you want to get into that. At the same time, you want to have an accountant. Your accountant will teach you how to legally not pay a lot of taxes and how to budget your income. After you invest in an accountant, you need a financial advisor. Your financial advisor will teach you how to increase your capital by investments. They will teach you how to invest. And then the third and final and most important thing is you need a lawyer to protect your assets. Those three fucking. So most individuals that have assets to protect, if you don't protect them, you know, whether it's family issues, money really does change the people around you. They will, you know, sue you for the smallest things. Like it or not, no matter how lucrative you get, eventually you're going to run into a lawsuit. And if you don't have the lawyers to protect your assets, you're fucked. Are you married? Prenup. It's actually insane. I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I told somebody, and I feel like this was the second contributing factor that got me fucking kicked out of that server after I debunked the wage gap. Before that, they asked me a question. Is like, well, what do you think about abortion? I'm like, well, let me tell you this. So, bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't on Earth. Like, does that make any fucking sense? Now, I believe there are not. I believe there are people on this Earth that deserve death. I'm going to give you the chance to see if you come out as a like pedophiles, the Epstein. They deserve death. And mainly because your victims aren't going to grow up to be successful intellect. They're going to be so damaged. The repair is like, it's a low chance of them repairing their mental psyche and accomplishing anything in their fucking life. You deserve death. Bin Laden's, yeah, fuck them. Fuck them too. Like, see, most people, like, if you go back and like you look at the Bolshevik Revolution and the brutalities that occurred, fucking mind blowing. Like people support something that they don't even fucking know what it is. They're the origins, especially like with Zionism. That's some insane shit. Fuck no, I'm not a Zionist. I know a lot of Zionists. I just don't agree with their values. You're a Zionist. Now let me ask you this: why are you a Zionist? And are you Jewish? Okay, but you know it extends far more than that. Have you studied Theodor Herzl at all? Okay, so what Zionism is, besides Jewish people having a homeland, and I don't. Now, I'm not saying Zionism is bad. It's a good structure for the Jewish people. What it is advancing their race financially and intellectually to be superior to others. So that's why, like, in most countries, there's a lot of benefits if you're Jewish. There's more benefits for you to be Jewish in the United States than it would be for you to be a Native American. Now, those benefits are good. However, they do take away from other ventures and other opportunities. Again, another cost. So, yeah, like education, for example. Uh, there's a lot of organizations. I mean, yeah, sure, they're private owned that would guarantee a Jewish child to top notch education, like a top notch. Now, the one thing I do respect about the Jews as a people, and they've disciplined this into their ideology so much, when they see another Jew suffering, they assist them, and the only way that Jew can pay back their debt to the Jew that helped them is to help out another fucking Jew. That's brilliant to have that in your culture. Like one of my really good friends, he was his college debt was paid off, and he was assisted in his business ventures. And then when he wanted to pay the money back, the guy literally told him, "Was like, don't go help out another Jew. I helped you. Now, if you don't help them, you're in debt to me for life. Like you fucking it's your duty." 'Cause if you understand, like if you look at other communities, right? Doesn't matter whether it's African Americans or Caucasians. There is a lot of content, confusion, and dishonesty and greed within their own communities, right? Like most white people kill more white people, more black people kill more black people. They have no discipline, no foundational structure. I could see religious traditions be somewhat valuable. And I say somewhat, I mean, it can be good it's a good indoctrinating tool. It really is. And the reason I say that is because if you could get someone to believe like some crazy shit, you could pretty much get them to believe anything. There was this KGB agent, I forgot his name. He defected, and he was talking about the indoctrination of a nation, like the 4 steps to destroy a nation. Number one was demoralization, and it's a process that takes about like 30 to 50 years to fully complete. Demoralization, destabilization, a crisis, and then normalization. And if you look back at just our nation's history, you can fucking spot the shit miles away. Like one of the things that's sad that will be normalized within the future is pedophilia. And how can we come to this conclusion? Well, the LGBT community tends to have erotic content, like live erotic content around children in their rallies. And they post it proudly. Right now, if you want to be gay, okay, that's your choice. Fuck it. You were born different. I understand. I know the science behind it. But that doesn't mean you could go to like a little kid and start twerking in front of him naked. And this started, and before they brought them into, like the limelight doing it live, publicly, they did it through entertainment. I remember, like, in school, we had to write an essay on, like, how corruption of pedophilia will increase and the things we could do to prevent it. One of the tools they used was entertainment, like media. There's a lot of shows, television shows that broadcast fucking globally, bruv. They got, like, little kids doing dance contests and shit like that. Like, who the fuck? And what do you expect with that? Yeah. Like, what do you expect? Like, and now it's sad to say that behavior will be normalized. However, that's just it's the sad truth. And unfortunately, and the sad thing is if you want to do and undo the problem, it would take you decades to a century to fix all this fuck up without violence or heavy use of violence. And no one's gonna go, most people wouldn't go the violent route. Because if you think about it, we have the resources to stop this shit, right? Like, especially in the United States. Private military companies with contractors. We have so many units within our, SWAT community and other law enforcement agencies, our military. We can fucking target these motherfuckers. And I was having a conversation with someone recently, and we were talking about the school shooting, pandemic that's been going on for the last few years. And he had a question. He's like, how is it that we can prevent 9/11 attacks? Because we spy on everyone. And we know this statistically because back, I believe it was June 5th, 2013, or June 3rd, 2013. Yeah, June 5th, 2013, where Edward Snowden came out with, like, concrete evidence that, yeah, we collect more fucking data in the United States than we do in Russia. And we know every fucking thing. Like, you are filed and organized and you're searchable. And when you say certain shit, that activates key phrases that automatically gets you, like, higher on the list to be surveilled. There's no fucking way. Because if you look at most school shooters, like, I'm going to use the one in Florida, for example. 6 months before the shit went down, motherfucker went on his YouTube channel, his Snapchat, and other social media platforms, going detail for fucking detail. And we can't fucking catch that. But we can catch Rami Shambadi with a little fucking Semtec in his toothpaste. Okay. And we were having a deep discussion, and his conclusion was that one of the things they're trying to get rid of now is firearms. And after listening to his conclusion, it made sense. And he said, think about it like this. The younger generation that's, demoralized and indoctrinated with these philosophies, they're the ones that are going to vote out firearms. But in order to do it, there has to be fear-mongering. If, as a nation, we can literally fucking track down other hostile threats in the most dense conditions, and we, surveil our nation more than any other fucking place, and we find all the targets in the areas where we don't fucking surveil our nation, know that it is guaranteed for us to be able to stop it. The reason that we don't is because in the long term, this shit is gonna go away. Like, I was watching this video, and it was this firearms enthusiast, and he went to, an anti-gun rally. Everything that they were advocating for fucking exists. And the sad thing is he made them sign this petition to get rid of the NRA, and it was actually something I'm a part of, the Firearms Policy Coalition. The very pro-gun motherfuckers, like, and because these people are so fucking stupid, they just believe anything. And they're like, yeah, well, there should be background checks. Do you know how hard it is to get a gun? Especially if you want, like, suppressors. You gotta get your fucking FFLs. Then you gotta get your SO. Do you know the painstaking process you have to go through dealing with the ATF and their fucking bullshit? And how costly it is to obtain these fucking items. It is cheaper. It has honestly been calculated. It is cheaper for me to get, like, for example, an MP5 fully suppressed illegally than it would be legally. That is fucking insane. So first you have to have your FFLs, and depending on the type of FFL you have to qualify for your SOT. SOT is a special occupational tax. Now there's a class 3 SOT. So suppressors and military grade weapons, shit like that. You have to have a class 3 SOT. There's a waiting period, and there's multiple interviews, fees, and depending on which state you live as well. Dealing with the ATF. So let's say, for example, you have an FFL Type 2. That means you're a pawnbroker. But let's say you have an FFL 6 and an FFL 7. It means you have the right to manufacture firearms and ammunition. Now, you could get all your FFLs, which is a long, painstaking fucking process, and then get your Class 3 SOTs. And then with your Class 3 SOTs, you could legally obtain suppressors, but they don't give that to everybody. They don't. And I'm not talking like in states such as Cal. Like, I mean fucking Alaska. It's not easy to get like a Class 3 SOT in Alaska, bruv. If you want to do some real fucking damage, go ahead. And most people are so uneducated when it comes to firearms. Like, you want to ban fucking fully autos because they're dangerous. But a semi-automatic, now that is already banned, and you do need a Class 3 SOT to obtain those weapons. I mean, Class 2 standard or Class 3 military grade. But what you don't understand is, let's say someone is a terrorist. With a semi-automatic, if they have any training, they are far more deadly than with a fully automatic. Because I don't know if you fucking know this, fully autos tend to disperse rounds pretty fucking quickly. That means you could hit less targets. By shooting one individual, you would have wasted 13 rounds, maybe 50, depending on the type of configuration you use. Like, what is more fucking deadly? Like, semi-auto is like, ooh, boom, pick them off right there, pick them off, or a fully fucking auto where I could do minimal damage. And it'll give the opportunity of another trained individual to take me the fuck down. Oh, I'll fucking know. And most gun violence, like if you look at the statistics, handguns, and they're illegal firearms, and if you look at like the states like that have really strict gun control, like Chicago, Illinois, every year they go over 1,000 fucking homicides. They're at like more like 49%, anywhere between 39 to 49% on average. But then if you look at somewhere like Texas, it's like 7.2% or 7.9%. The fuck do you see that as a bad thing? And yet they have the most guns. See, like, one of the things that I don't know if you're aware that Biden's administration is doing is they're going after FFLs and they're auditing them. So I write all my legal documentation in cursive. Not a few months ago, which was somewhat recent. I had to go and get audited by the fucking ATF because they can't read cursive. You cunts. They were gonna take all my shit away because they can't fucking read. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? And like when you were writing important documentation that has like your social and all your other private shit, you would assume that the individuals dealing with this information are somewhat smart. They have to be above average. I had to get fucking audited. Like, it's actually insane. And you want to know what the thing is? Is like after 3 days of me going to the fucking ATF offices with my lawyer and going to local city courts, they're like, "Oh, we're sorry on a mistake in my part." I'm like, "You want to refund the money I spent on these lawyers? You fucking bitch!" Like, fuck you. Like, you know how much of a cunt you have to be. I work my ass off just to get these firearms. I take care of my firearms. And you want to come after me because you can't read fucking cursive. You cunt. Sad. Sad. But did it have anything to do with firearms? Liberals? You told me you recently had a discussion with the liberal. Was it about the recent raid? I look at it as an abuse of power. That's a definite abuse of power. You wanna know what the funny thing is? Is like if you look at Biden's history, it's very contradicting. Like before, he was vice president for Barack Obama, he had very strict ideologies on border control. You know, like we gotta build a fucking fence. And this was before Trump with his wall, like before 2015. This was like 2005, 2006. We gotta build a fence and we gotta make it. He wanted to fucking arrest people that would knowingly hire illegal immigrants. And then he goes under Obama shit, yeah, never mind, just let them all come in. Fuck me. Yeah. See, like, I was watching, and the only animated shows I really enjoy is like Rick and Morty, because I didn't really grow up on cartoons as a kid. And there's this scene from season 2, episode 1, and Rick goes, "That guy's the like Regwin Grumble of pretentiousness," and the grandkids start laughing. He's like, "Oh, you got that reference? You like it?" And they're laughing. He's like, "Ha ha ha!" And then it's like, "Well, guess what? I made him up. You really are your father's children. Learn to think for yourself. Don't be sheep." And I was like, "The fucking A, bruv." Like, and when did comedy become affected? I grew up. I don't know if you know George Carlin, the legend. The legend. People say shit that he wouldn't like. Isn't close to 1% of the shit he said. George Carlin had this fucking bit of just people who deserve to die, like should be shot. It's one of my favorite fucking bits. Fuck no. I'm gonna tell you this: like, if you look at comedians, right, and that's why I lose a lot of respect for a lot of them. They change their content. It's really not funny. Like, if you look at Dave Chappelle from the '90s to early 2000s, who the fuck is this cunt on my screen? What that is? I say this, and this pisses a lot of people off. To this day, I've only seen one woman that ever made me laugh, and that was Brett Cooper with a joke. I don't know if you know who that is. She runs a internet show. It's similar to like Ben Shapiro. She's the only woman I could say I respect. Because I was watching this video that someone sent me, and then they go, "This guy is watching like female comedians until he laughs," and the video was like 2 hours long, and I'm like, I'm just skipping to the end. When I skipped to the end and the show ended, the guy was like, "Oh, thank God." But then he's like, "I'm not religious, but I think hell does exist. I'm gonna go to church this Sunday." That shit was hell, and they're really not funny. It's not that like I choose not to laugh. They're not funny. I remember like this chick in my high school. She was like, "Oh yeah, well tell me a joke." I just said women's rights. Everybody started laughing. And he's like, well, that hurts my feelings. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your feelings. You know how many times I was accused of making anthrax? Like, so, like, most kids in my school wouldn't mess with me. And it was like a little inside joke. And, like, the guys, they would try to, because I was older, because I was skipping grades. I was older than most of my peers. I mean, younger. My apologies. And they would go, hey, don't bully him. Next thing you know, he's going to fucking make anthrax or some poison shit to come kill you. I was like, you know what, motherfuckers? I know how to make it too, you son of a bitch, but I'm not going to do it. Like, like, you're fucked. I'm going to tell you this. I actually had quite a lucrative side business in middle school where I would help individuals with, like, their grading assignments. Oh, of course, they would fail all the tests because I wouldn't do them. I remember this one time, like, this teacher was to one of the female students, like, how come you got, like, 100% on all your homework assignments, but you failed the final? And she was like, I'm on my period. And I was like, no, you're not, bitch. But I made a lot of money. I made $500 that semester just off of her. And you have to understand, she wasn't my only client. And it was a cash business, which means no taxes. Save. Invest. I'm gonna tell you this. I had my older brother buy me Bitcoin back when it was like $40 a pop. Over like 500 at the time. It's gonna go back up. It's gonna go back up. I've sold most of it. It's gonna go back up. Yeah. I actually used to go hang out like outside of like the banks. Like I would make friends with bankers, and they were like, so like, what do you want? I'm like, how do I legally not pay taxes when I get older? They're like, why do you want to know this now? I'm like, when I get older, I don't want to deal with a lot of bullshit. So just tell me how not to pay any taxes, and I'll appreciate it. Well, we know it's something with liberals, so that's not really gonna narrow it the fuck down. Does it have to do with like the homosexuality movements? Because earlier I was discussing like the indoctrination of like pedophilia being normalized through the LGBT community bullshit. Uh, I have, not in great detail though. Yeah, I feel like the problem why, and I feel like this is one of the contributing factors why America will never have a public healthcare system. Because we do have really good private affordable ones, but most people can't afford it because, they're ignorant. Like I said, they spend their shit on other luxuries. But the reason why America won't have is because every year we increase the budget of our armed forces. And that doesn't go towards, it goes towards new technologies. It goes towards private military companies and arms brokerage companies, like, for example, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Constellus, B.E. Myers, Blue Halo. It goes towards the military industrial complex, which, is great for me. However, if we take 10% of what we spend on our entirety of our armed forces, we can have healthcare for like the next 2 decades. Just 10% of every year's budget is is 2 decades. That's not going to happen. You have to understand, like, when we increase, let's say we increase the military budget by 200 billion, right? And in the past, we've increased it by trillions. That doesn't mean we're paying 200 billion. It just means we're paying 200 billion more on top of what we're already fucking paying. We're spending like trillions of dollars. It's insane. Like, it is actually insane. I think military spending is useful. However, I think it could be uh, spent more on the armed forces because you have to understand this, right? Like, for example, military operations. Most military operations are not done by the United States military. They're done by private military companies. Now you could now you could sound like 4 or 5 Navy SEALs to get a job done, and you're paying each of them like what $50,000 a year. Or you could send a private military company, and you're paying them just for that one job. The individual's like 80 to 100 grand, taking on that operation. You're spending more for people that you spend millions of dollars training that you don't get to fucking use all the time. What is the point? Like, imagine buying a vehicle. Like, for example, a 97 Skyline, and you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars tuning it. And then you get in, like, a Honda Civic grocery getter, and you call it a day. Why? Because you have to understand, the military benefits, they suck. Not, most of them suck.
I was gonna say, yeah, depends.
You got certain good benefits, the GI Bill, but then again, not everybody utilizes the GI Bill. I think it's maybe like half, or maybe less than that. I'll have to recheck. That most of it, not part of it, most of it. Because you have to understand, everything that we spend in military technology, whether it's drones, weaponry, and weaponry such as like firearms, missiles, aircraft, all of that is coming from private companies. Like Lockheed Martin is one of the biggest contributors. Or like every drone we have comes from Lockheed, and all of its missiles come from Raytheon. Most of the time, it's going to be PMCs. Like, see, like back in like the early 2000s when private military companies started to have their rise, military forces were decreased, but boots on grounds were increased. And also, one thing I will tell you, the difference between private military companies and the United States military, there's big differences. One of them being the rules of engagement. So in the United States military, you need permission from your commanding officer to engage a target, or you have to be engaged. In a private military company, you don't need none of that shit. You see a target with a firearm, you don't even know if he's just some villager defending it. You could take him if you don't know. There's no consequences. Also, anywhere where the United States cannot dispatch its armed forces, they use private military contractors, defensive contractors. They're like that loophole. There are, but not a lot. Because you have to understand, most PMC operations, I mean, yeah, you could say, most of the things they do is like VSOs, which is village stability operations. They even go in hostage rescue. But a lot of their shit is classified. And one example I will give. So
what's the argument?
No, the argument is that why we're spending more in our private military. It's not really an argument. It's just a discussion.
Right. Okay.
So
carry on.
So during the Obama administration, we got rid of our detainee program. Our detainee program was enhanced, basically torture. Now, people said, "Oh, America doesn't torture anyone." That's a fucking lie, bitch. Because what we did is we just outsourced it to private military companies. And then they outsourced the knowledge and the intelligence they gathered to private intelligence gathering companies that deal with like C4ISR, such as like Blue Halo and Constellus at the time, or Blackwater as it was called at one point, or the Academy. and then they would sell that information to the government. So when you're increasing the funding, you're not spending it directly on your armed forces. You're spending it on the military-industrial complex. This has been true for the last 2 decades. Because before that, like PMCs were rare. However, in the last 2 decades, they have increased. Now, here's the benefit about a PMC with the United States government. They don't have to provide them support. If they get kidnapped, fucked, killed, they're a contract. That's on the private military company, whether they choose to give the amount of benefits that they do. Like, oh, your husband died, here's 50 grand, or maybe here's the life insurance policy he had with our company.
Oof.
So the U.S. government is not really responsible. That's why most people just call them mercenaries. I mean, they are mercenaries.
So you think they should? Sense. So you think they should be responsible?
No, I think it is a useful tool. I don't think you should restrict it because, sure, certain shady things can happen with anything.
Sure.
However, I do feel like certain operations that need to take place that will prevent many deaths are done through these private military companies and these task forces. Like certain information, like how we found the leader of Al Qaeda, who we just fucked up with the drone. They tortured for that information. What do you think? They sent fucking Delta operators
for information. I mean,
Are you at all aware of enhanced interrogation tactics?
Waterboarding? What?
That's it? That's all you got? Waterboarding?
No, I'm just saying that's one of. I'm just saying that's one of them. Are you a fucking moron?
Most enhanced interrogation is psychological. Because eventually, if you're a civilian, you're fucked. You're going to give up on pain. However, if you're a trained operator, you're taught to take pain, and eventually you'll get used to it. It's psychological. They try to break you. That's why, one of the greatest special forces, which, by the way, every fucking SF team in the world is based off what I'm about to say, is the British Special Forces. The SAS and the SBS are, like, top tier 1 units. Like, top of the notch. And they have this course called RTI, which is Resistance to Interrogation. What they do, and they don't classify everything that they do, because they say if we classify everything that we do during this process in today's political world, it wouldn't fucking go down. They actually fucking torture the shit out of you. We don't know everything, but we do know that, like, they come out with some scars, like psyche scars and some physical scars. Now, and we've seen this get affected and how it could be damaging if you declassify this information. For example, one of the top tier elite units in the world were the German KSK. However, more of their information becoming declassified, they got disbanded by the German government. How the fuck? Because a lot of their methods were unethical. Well, how do you expect to get that top notch of a product? That's a tier 1 fucking operator, bruv. How do you expect to get that? So it's long time torture. So, for example, you'll be put in what we call a pain position. And if you fuck up, you'll get beat. But you'll have to stand there for hours. You'll be disoriented. You'll be put somewhere humid with loud noises, flashing lights. Basically anything to prevent you from thinking. And that'll go on for days. Most, actual trained, operators, they're taught to sleep in those positions. However, imagine if you're like a civilian or just some CIA analyst they kidnapped. You're fucked. Yeah.
King
See my
Quandale Dingle that.
see my mentor back in the UK. He was actually a former British Special Forces, and he would talk about like he's like, if you ever get kidnapped, try to run. Because the more you go to your enhanced interrogators, the more you get moved, the lower your chances get. Like that's just the fucking reality of it. Yeah, and of survival. So one of the things that, and what he taught me was different to what you see in the movies. He says if you're offered food or water, drink it, eat it, like fucking do it. Give the bare minimum information. You're gonna have to give information. This isn't like the movies where you say "fuck you, suck my dick," and they punch you and they leave. No, like you're gonna have to give something. You always have to have that amount of information that's it's a lie that's sprinkled with the truth. Tiny sprinkles of little bits of reality. And I was always told, he's like, look, because we used to go to South Africa a lot with my family. And he's like, look, if you ever get kidnapped and you're not dead right there, know that there is a fucking reason. There's a reason, because if you weren't of any value or you're being determined that you're of value or not, you're alive. If you're alive, there's a reason. Take that as an advantage. I mean, yeah. Because you have to
Yeah, like
understand.
what do you want to do after you're done with them? Like what the fuck?
Most
You know what I mean?
times they do execute them, and most times they send them to military installation prisons. Because depending on who they are, like most people, for example, in Guantanamo Bay, there's a reason why they're not allowed to be released. Like there have been reported cases where like an inmate accidentally talked to another inmate that was found to be weak, and then the inmate that gave the instructions, the other inmate killed himself. Like there's a reason. It's actually insane.
Quandale Dingle.
Like one thing that like people don't get about like like world leaders, for example, most of them started off with good intentions. Like you have a picture of Kim Jong, like Kim Jong Un, and when he first became supreme leader, he built resorts before he starved his nation. He built malls, and then when the financial greed got to him, shit really hit the fan. It went back to the way things were. Like even Stalin and Hitler, at first they were very beneficial to their nation before they fucking went on genociding. Fun fact, did you know Adolf Hitler was the first motherfucker in human history to campaign against smoking, uh, making it illegal to sell alcoholic beverages to minors, and came out with the first blood test for drunk drivers?
Wow, that's fucking hilarious. One of the most hated one of the most hated mans ever. Like hated man ever is like.
He actually was awarded Man of the Year in 1938.
Well, I bet he was. I mean, yeah, they had
Yeah.
to treat him like a god, or they would kill him. Like, come on.
Because like before the events of World War II, Hitler was highly respected.
Yes, master. Like, honestly.
Also, one thing that is true is like the victors of war really do change history.
Yo, y'all been seeing like the Parkland trial that is back and shit, or no?
I haven't been following it, no.
Back. I don't know why. That shit's crazy. Jesus Christ.
So what are the upcoming developments, or what are the current developments?
Of what?
The trial.
Well, right now they're just reading off like it's a retrial because something happened last trial. I don't know what it was exactly. They are now trying to uh, get all the victims back and question all of them and see what like 100% happened. See if all the stories are matching up and see if like basically look at the medical part, like the medical of it too, like what how many people died, how many people were injured, and there's like now they're finding videos of like Snapchat videos of the kids that like were in the like were in the not the shooting, but the like in the school at the time of the shooting, and they found that shit, and yeah, a lot of the parents are talking on the stage, and one of them was like, "If I could murder you, I would torch you to fucking death if I could," and they like took him out and shit, and yeah, just basic shit right now.
Yeah, I
Trying
feel
to
like
really
the negativity of like fucking with children, whether it's emotionally or through their education system, is they are supposed to be the future assets. Like that's the purpose of raising children. And you fuck that up. What
well,
do you
it's not even that.
expect
It's
the
just
future to
something that
be?
they love is now taken away from them. Like that. And this is basically what it is, right? Let's say, like, somebody kills your best friend, right? Your best friend that you're like best friends with, right? And then you have to sit in a room multiple days of the week in trial for 12 hours and look at him, and
I would
just
have my
he's just
vengeance.
chilling there, bro. The entire time I'd be just like, I want to fucking murder you, bro. I want to literally torture you to death.
No,
So
I understand that. I
yeah,
would have my vengeance. It would come at the cost of my freedom. However, it would be done. And I'm really thinking of moving out to Singapore. Are all of you from the United States?
yeah.
And not just that, low taxes. I really enjoy Singapore. I go to Indonesia a lot. I go to Bali a lot. So, plus my
Is
girlfriend
your
moved out
state
there.
shitty and boring? Is that why too? You
I'm in
like it?
Seattle, Washington. It's not
Oh,
shitty and
okay.
boring.
At
I
least
don't
it's
like
not
all the
like
people.
port. At least it's yeah,
It's it's not California. Good God,
yeah,
those people.
yeah. That's pretty bad. I'm St. Louis, Missouri, so I'm out here. I guess just here.
Not too long ago, I went to visit. I said this earlier, but you weren't here. I went to visit one of my cousins in California, and she attends UCLA, and I asked her peers some basic questions.
UCLA.
They didn't fucking know nothing.
Oh my god! I don't know if I told the Cam guy this. I think I did, but have you seen that TikToker that goes to New York and just like walks around and asks the most simple questions, like how many world wars have there been? And like and these are the same people who can fucking vote, the same people that can drive, the same people that can have an opinion on the internet. Don't even know how many world wars we've had. Don't even know like it's like, so what president is Joe Biden? And they're like the 81st. And you're like, yeah.
Somebody had recently on.
How
I have to
many?
ask them to send me that video.
Yeah, we're like, how many letters are in the alphabet? Like 50, and then they're like 54. And you're like, what?
You want to know what the sad part was?
It's
So
26, bitch.
one of the clips in that video, there was this, I believe, high school graduate or college graduate. It was in New York City,
Yeah.
and he asked them. He said, "What's 3 times 3 times 3?" And he said
Oh yeah, I remember that.
36.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
said, "Bro, oh no, where the fuck do you get 36?" But here's the thing: the guy, he wouldn't like, he wouldn't say, "Oh, you're wrong." He would just say, "Yeah, okay." Like he would fuck with them, and I was just like, if I was there, I would just yell 27 and telling them they deserved like death.
Right.
It's ignorant.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, dude.
It's sad. It's really sad.
No, it really is, man. It's like these are the same people who have opinions on the internet. Like that's what really blowed my mind. Like, how many world wars have there been? And the guy's like 5. Like, how dumb are you, bro? Like, we don't even know the most basic shit.
Did you see the one where he asks who's Adolf Hitler, and then he goes, "Man, that's that guy that ran against Obama."
Oh, gee, yo, stop! He did not say that.
I can't make this. I can't make this up.
I'm
You wanna know
done.
what the sad thing is? And this is even worse than that. They asked, "What's Obama's last name?"
Oh, I love that. I love when people ask that. That's the funniest shit ever.
They don't know. Oh, dude,
And they don't know
the bad one.
because everyone calls
What
him Obama.
city is Utah in?
Yeah.
They didn't fucking know.
Yeah, and they're always like,
It's not. Oh, you wanna know what the sad thing is? So recently today, somebody asked me on this server, "What's the capital of California?" I'm like, Sacramento. They're like, "No, it's not. Stupid. It's Los Angeles." Ha ha ha.
It's not though.
I'm like, at first I thought they were joking, like taking the piss.
Nah, they're just dumb.
I was like, and then it was like, Sacramento's not even in California, dude. That sounds like Arizona. I'm like, fuck me, bro.
Oh my god, so he was serious. That's
He was serious.
hilarious.
I'm gonna say this. So a year ago, I got asked, like, have you ever, visited the continent of Africa? I'm like, yeah. It's like, what was one of your favorite countries that you went to? I said Egypt. They're like, Egypt's not in Africa, man. That's like Middle East, Afghanistan, shit. I was like, it's one of the 54 fucking nations in the continent, you fucking moron.
You Quandale Dingle head ass boy.
My brain was in pain.
The brain was in pain. It was incessantly
honestly, like, when I was a young child, I was like, I want to be like the developer of the next nuclear bomb, one bomb to wipe out humanity, because one day they're gonna fucking be much more of a disappointment. I really used to have those thoughts.
What?
Of just like creating the next nuke. That was actually
Jesus Christ.
the reason why I started, studying nuclear physics.
What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm an arms broker and an analyst.
Okay. An analyst of what?
You know what C4ISR is?
D4 ISR.
Yes. So C4ISR is command, control, communications, computers, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance.
Okay. That's a lot of words in one sentence.
Well, that's what it
Yeah.
what it means.
Interesting. Like on the internet?
For money.
Like on the internet?
I don't really kill terrorists. No, that's someone else's job. I'm sure.
But you find them.
Not all the time. And I'm not gonna answer that.
Not gonna answer what? If you've killed someone?
No, that wasn't. No, I just got a call from my father. My family's visiting. They're coming to Seattle in 2 days.
W? Where are they at?
Arlington, Virginia.
Damn. So they are kind of.
Yeah, I moved when I was 19. I just couldn't stand it anymore.
You couldn't stand just small town Virginia shit? You're like, get me the fuck out of here. Yeah. That's how I would be.
Like, it wasn't that. It was bad.
Like,
It was.
you know how every single state has like a major city? Like, does Virginia even have one? Like, honestly, I'm being fully serious right now. Like they have, Virginia Beach.
You got Virginia Beach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But that's not like that. Like, I mean, like by city, I mean like. So I live in Missouri, and I live in St. Louis, Missouri. That's like the major city. Like like you live in Seattle. That's the major city of Washington. Like what is Virginia's, bro? Like I swear to God. Like honestly, I have no idea.
I mean, they got Richmond. That's not.
Yeah,
not
but
that
like
bad.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean you could classify it as that. I think.
Yeah. Arlington's where like the biggest ones are at. The Arlington Partners, as they are called. I wanted to move to San Diego, but then after having some encounters with the locals, I said, "Fuck no." And then Florida is, Florida. One of my friends, he went to Florida and he brought back a T-shirt, and the T-shirt says, "God bless America, except Florida. Fuck Florida." And he bought it in Miami, fucking Florida. Fuck me.
Well, even they know. No, I'm playing. But I couldn't imagine living in Virginia, like as a kid. Like I don't know.
I moved from the UK. The number one
Interesting.
thing I had to learn was I had to learn the American accent.
Yeah, because I was gonna
It was-
say, because
when
you don't have the British accent anymore.
I mean, I still remember it, but if I talk normally, people think I'm putting on an accent, even though I'm not. I
How
miss
long
the
did you
UK.
live there? How long? Did
I
you
lived
live
in
there?
the UK until I was 10.
Okay.
I was born in London, and then we moved to Wales, and I was raised in Cardiff.
Oh shit. So you're just everywhere. Jesus Christ.
And then from Cardiff, we came to the United fucking States. Fuck me, bruv.
My family's from Ireland, but I'm not. I've lived here my whole life in America. America.
I might move there, honestly.
Why, bro?
One, higher standard of living. There's more intellectuals. It's right next to Indonesia, like fucking right there. I love Bali. You know what the fun thing is? So, like, let's say
Yeah.
you go to Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. For the top penthouse suite, you're spending $7,500 a night. For that
Correct.
same amount, you could get a 3-bedroom, 6-bathroom villa next to the rice fields or the ocean in Bali, Indonesia, for 2 months or a month and a half at least. I mean, if you want hookers, go to Taiwan.
Yeah, honestly though. Nah, go to Croatia, bro. Like honestly, go to Croatia. Go to the east side of Croatia, bro. The southeast side. Sorry,
You're
the
gonna get
southeast
AIDS.
side of Croatia.
No.
Okay, that shit was funny. There is a guy from Croatia that's in here that thinks like that his country is better than any other country.
Nope.
Yeah, he's cringe, bro. It's like, bro, Croatia is
I
not.
met someone from Lithuania that thought Lithuania was like the king of the fucking world.
Yeah, that's funny to me. It's like, dog, you gotta. It's like those people who like they live somewhere, so they think that that's like the only thing that they know, and they think that they're like, oh, the almighty fucking. But it's like, bro, if you actually studied, you realize like you're like one of the lowest on the fucking list. You are dog shit.
I will
Literally,
tell you this,
America could walk up on your country and kill all of you in under a week. Like,
Less,
less, bro. Honestly, like. Y'all are dumb as fuck, bro. That shit is so funny to me, bro. That they're just like, yeah, my little country that's like the size of fucking half of a state. That's literally the size of fucking Rhode Island. Like, dog, nobody needs you, and we could murder all of you in one day. Do better, live better, perceive your life better.
I'm gonna tell you
Jesus
this.
Christ.
There was this experience. Now you have to pay to volunteer, but it's this program in South Africa called Living with Big Cats. It's a lot of hard work, but you actually get to be like face to face with like adult lions, like cheetahs. They even got a couple tigers in that sanctuary. It's like $1,000 for a week.
Jesus.
You could pay $8,000 for like a month.
Do you have any pets or no?
I have 4 dogs.
4 dogs. Damn. Based. Yes, indeed.
I have a Rottweiler, a German Shepherd,
Ooh.
a Pit Bull, and a
Ooh.
Doberman.
Jesus Christ. He has every like big dog. That's cool. I have a German Shepherd and a Chinese Shar-Pei. Look it up. It's a wrinkle. It has wrinkles. That's the whole persona of it is wrinkles.
You know what I hate when you mention wrinkles? Those bald cats. Fuck them. Fuck them, bro.
Fuck them.
I want a raven. Yeah.
And I have a pet fish. Based. He's a legend, bro. He's been alive for years, bro. His name's Buddy.
There was this girl back in Virginia who had a emotional service animal,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like a dog or like a cat or a parrot.
It's like a hedgehog, like.
It was an otter.
What?
I was like, "Fuck me, bruv." Like she had a card for it and everything, like a certificate. I was like, "Fuck me." I miss that guy. So he was a fun little otter. No, but I highly recommend like you do that program in South Africa, living with big cats. It's worth it. Yes and no.
Yes.
So like I'm gonna tell
Yes.
this. So when we went into the cheetah enclosure, only me and this one girl from like Germany came in. Everybody else just fucked off. And when the cheetah licks you in the same spot, like after about 10th licks, you're bleeding. Their tongues are really rough and sharp. Like if you look at a cheetah's tongue.
What do you guys think about Bangladesh?
Bangladesh. Oof.
Like,
I
what's the
actually haven't
opinion?
been to Bangladesh. I need to visit there.
I don't know why. I kind of want to move to Greece. Like, honestly,
If you're going to Greece, go to Kalamata.
Kalamata.
Kalamata, as I call it, or Kalamata.
What's like the New York of Greece?
The New
Like
York
the number
of
one big, like greatest city.
If you want the New York of Greece, go to Athens, dude.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna
many
say
fucking
it's
tourists.
Athens. Yeah.
If you ever go to Italy, though, go to up northern Italy, like towards the Dolomites. It's nicer.
What do you think the best state is
Ooh,
in America?
I'm gonna go with Alaska.
Alaska.
My reasoning,
What do you think? Okay, do you think okay, yeah. Actually, say your reasoning first, and then
so my reasoning, those people are not indoctrinated with bullshit ideologies, and fuck, you could own a tank in Alaska, so why not? And land is fucking dirt cheap. You get like
But would you move
100
there?
acres of
But
land.
would you move there?
I would.
Okay. But like, okay, do you think Russia's gonna try to take it back soon? Or
I
no?
don't think so.
No, okay. Because that is kind of Russia's to an extent, or was. Sorry, was Russia's at a point. And then we said, "Psych, bitch, you suck. You're a piece of shit. You're a loser. You're fat. You're Russian. Nobody likes you. Soviet Union is dog shit. I can murder every single country that's in that, just by myself." And yeah. So.
You give Vladimir Putin props because, like, at the fall of the Soviet Union,
Oh, he's
that
smart as
nation
fuck,
was
but I hate
fucked.
him. Yeah.
So
And
what do you
Russia
think
has, like,
about
a problem.
Ukraine?
What about it?
The war still going on in Ukraine. What do you think? Your thoughts?
So, I'm an isolationist, so I think that if it has nothing to do with us, then we shouldn't get involved with it. And I think we are gaining nothing from it.
You know who thought like that?
So this is why, because okay, this is number one. We would make Russia hate us even more than they already do, and we would lose millions/billions/trillions of dollars by
We
giving them a
already
small
are.
country. Right. So, but and the only thing that Ukraine gives us is wheat. And recent statistics have shown that without Ukraine, we could still move on as a country without them and without their wheat production. We do not. It has nothing to do with us. I think we let them do what they need to do, and we move on. But other things like the Taiwan and shit, I think if it does benefit us and it does, things like that, then maybe we should get involved. Maybe we should send some money. Because China makes a lot of our things, and Taiwan makes all of our technology. And
If you know
we need,
about the economic crisis right now in China, a lot of their banks
we
are
need both of
failing.
them. And that's the thing, though. We need both of them. We need China very badly, and we need Taiwan very badly. So I think, therefore, we should maybe put in some money or something like that, or I don't know. But Ukraine and Russia, I think that America has nothing to do with it. And if statistics show that if we didn't help, that we'd be perfectly fine, then I see no point. Why help? We're just losing money at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's funny because if you look at the history of the United States, like the biggest warlords and crooked politicians and even like, kingpins, like the United States had a hand. Like, do you really think Pablo Escobar would have been as big without the CIA?
nah,
Or, like Charles
not really.
Lucano, like Lucky Luciano coming up that big without like the fucking US Navy?
Nah, he needs to do better, live better, perceive life better. I'm gonna be honest with you. Ooh, PK. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so the CIA had this
the CIA
program.
made him.
They did, and the way they did it is they had pilots that would smuggle
Not literally
guns.
made him, but
Yeah, they would smuggle guns towards, like Colombia and Brazil, but instead of, giving that guns to like, freedom fighters, they would give it to the cartels. And because the CIA would give the pilots directions on how to avoid radar, what time to fly, and they would literally use, like the Coast Guard fuck off over there on like, false reports. Pablo Escobar utilized the pilots in moving his product. So like 80% of the cocaine came from like 10 fucking different pilots.
the Quandale Dingle.
That's insane. It was a strategic decision because the Central Intelligence Agency found out very quickly about the activities of the pilots that they were contracting. A couple of them got arrested, one of them disappeared, the other one got killed. Like, they fucking knew. The war on drugs? It's actually insane.
Indeed.
Yeah, I feel like
Indeed.
one of the biggest gangsters, who they say he died out of mysteriously, was me and him actually have the same first name. Was Ellsworth Raymond Johnson.
Your name is Ellsworth. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Ellsworth. It's very
Bumpy
interesting.
Johnson.
Wait, so what is your nickname? Like Els?
No,
It's kinda-
people just call me Ellsworth.
It's kind of cool to me. It's kind of cool.
My middle name is Vincenzo, but most people call me
Jesus
Vincent.
Christ. So you definitely are from different countries. Jesus fuck. My name is every single name of my name is from first to last is all fucking American as fuck. Like it's
Is
terrible.
it John James Smith?
No, I mean it's something like that, but it's Chase Matthew Kelly. That's my name.
Chase.
Yeah. So Chase Matthew Kelly is my name. Every single one is American name. Chase is my first name. Matthew's my middle name because it's my father's name, and then Kelly. And what is Chase? Is that American? Because that's my name. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but yeah, my name's Chase. So that is my name.
What about you, Kim? What's your actual name?
He doesn't give any. Yeah, it's yeah. He doesn't do that. Yeah.
Well,
he
that's
won't-
not
he-
really doxing yourself, but if it makes you
Well, that's
feel
what
more
I'm saying though. He
comfortable.
doesn't understand. Like nobody's like if somebody wanted to dox you, bro, they would do it.
You have to understand, like, they need your last name. You know how many motherfuckers on this earth have your name?
Like honestly though, and like Nobody's gonna know by what state. Like I still to this day don't even know what state my boy lives in. Like nobody's finding you, bro. And not only that, we're not fucking like axe murderers. Like what?
Even if they find your state, do you know how many people in your city? Like it would take a decade for them to
Literally,
narrow
like
it
I
down.
tell everyone, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Nobody's done a fucking thing, bro. Nobody's doxing your shit. Right, and I get death threats from people too. And
The
they
last
don't
time
do
somebody
shit.
gave me a death threat, I told them I can. What I'm about to say,
Tell them my
I don't
address.
say.
I don't give a fuck.
I actually said that on one occasion because the gentleman was assuming that I would back down, and I did not. I told him I will guarantee his extinction.
Do you know what's actually very funny to me is I've actually done that before. Somebody was talking shit. I literally gave him my address. I literally dead ass. He said, "I'm gonna dox you, bitch," and I literally gave him my home address. I don't give a fuck. Literally, exactly where I live on the fucking dot, my house, and nothing happened. Like it's just all
Because
talk,
I met
buddy.
this guy, he was like, "I'm from Seattle, and I don't like you." I'm like, "Okay, well, if you like, we can sort this out
Wait,
peacefully."
why does he not like you? What
Or
happened?
because I told him that I don't like homosexuality because of the indoctrination of minors becoming morons and how that was scientifically proven. So, all right, you have a
Yeah.
wonderful day.
Oh yeah, I forgot your girlfriend.